Hello everyone, I'm Xiaogan. Okay, in this lesson, I'll explain what JSON is. What JSON? Don't think of JSON as too complicated. It's a very simple thing. And it is actually a very important and special string format in our network communication. If you write and store data according to this format convention, everyone can parse it. So, regarding JSON, you really need to understand how to describe an object within JSON. So, the object we often talk about. This object is not the same as our UPAR. Here, an object refers to an object with certain properties, and then there is int, float, and boolean. Okay, none of these are present. These are all cross-language and cross-platform universal. Such attributes, and also the host. You just need to figure out how to write these things. So here we will show you two simple scripts. These two scripts have already been written, but before looking at them, you need to do this. These scripts will be shared with you. Don't worry about that. Let's open it first. Let's put it here. We have two scripts here, right? But first, you need to install this VS Code. This is called VS Code. Then you need to install this plugin called this parse takeover. Search for this plugin here. Just install it and you're done. Then install this plugin. What's the benefit of it? It can help you format. Sorry for takeover, but after you install it, click here. There's also a command. The reason you might not have this command is because you opened it in strict mode. Then we open this and change the name. We give it a message tool. Then we open it. It seems this place no longer has this issue, right? So let's close it first. Let me demonstrate for everyone. Because many people may not have used this editor, and there is a strict mode here. That is, you need to trust it. You need to trust it. If you don't trust it, you'll find that this place doesn't have the save command. See? Right? Then after you trust it like this, we come back in. You can see. Then for example, let's mess this one up a bit. Mess it up a bit, okay. For example, don't worry about this one. Okay, then this one, click. It will format it for you. This way you can very conveniently see these interfaces, and the key points for the interfaces are whether there are spaces in these places, whether there is indentation. Actually, we don't need to worry about this side, because how this thing is actually done is actually agreed upon with your backend. It depends on your project team, the development level of the batcher personnel. If you are developing in parallel, that is, you are developing together, and you can communicate and coordinate with each other, then there is no problem. But in actual situations, it is often the case that the backend has already been developed. They have finalized all the formats. They give you something like an interface document like that, and then you can only go alone, constantly trying and trying again. Then it is very likely that such a connection will appear, and we write it like this: connecting to the gods. They are not the same connection to the gods. This is the backend. The backend just has different indentation, and the encryption method is different, and the server encoding is different. This kind of problem usually occurs, so we'll stop here on this topic. Later, we will guide you to do some commercial. So everyone, don't give up. So everyone, there's no need to worry. All these things can be used in commercial applications. These are our standard formats. Okay, so let's delete this. So let's take a look. We have written two sieves here. It's very simple. We will guide you through writing it. First, the first sieve. In our internet communication, we often transmit data in this format. So what do these field assignments mean? This code is actually the status code. Status codes are generally 0 and non-zero. 0 means success. Then we also have some status codes. For example, 100, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700. And then the specific status codes. It is something agreed upon by the backend. This is not an HTTP status code. This is agreed upon by the backend. For example, let me give you an example here. Here we find the error code query. You can see that all these status codes are it. That is to say, provided by your vendor. So this thing, it is usually written like this. And this message, if successful, each usually might be nothing. It just indicates success. If it fails, you might not be able to tell from the status code. It will prompt you, the information you are accessing is incorrect. The requested address is incorrect, or this interface is outdated, or your account information has expired. Then a message will be provided here, and this data is the data returned to you. As for this data, it may be in a form other than a string, or it could be this kind, Intel's floor type, or it could be a boolean. But we usually use this kind. string form or in the form of an object. So what is an object? Something enclosed in curly braces. That is an object. These are all its properties. And then the side is the ID of this drawing. Used to identify this unique action, we will often use similar notation like this. Okay, this is a simple object. Then, if on this object, we next another object. That is, of course, also fine. For example, let's wrap another one like this. Let's give it an object. Let's give it an info, and then here, its property. It is an object. So here again, it's a curly brace, and inside this object, we can give it something called CLM, our service provider's name. For example, our service provider's name is Xiaogang. Then you will know that the service provider you are requesting is named Yaogang. And then this service provider's vision forms the version of this service provider. Let's just use 1931-3156. So actually this is inside the object. Then wrapped it in an object again. So once you have this data, you can parse it into a struct in our Unreal Engine. Then you can access this struct, and this struct can be generated automatically with code, or we can write it manually. We usually use the manual approach here because it's more convenient and easier to control. You can also use some tools to auto-generate it. This approach has its advantages and bugs, but it's completely fine. Then it might involve something more complex. Generally, it's better to maintain it ourselves for convenience. It might cost some manual effort. So this is one of our messages, right? And this is an object. The most important thing is to add a host concept, because you might have a lot of enforce. So how do we add a host? Well, it's actually very simple. The previous part is usually this. The previous part is usually this string. Let's call it worker. That is who provides some help. And this is the hosts, because there are many people, right? Or we call it worker. Worker is ID. It is the IDs of which people. For example, employee number 15, employee number 16, employee number 17, employee number 41. So the supervisor's ID is these three people. Then let's see which coders there are. That is the engineers who do the actual coding. Who are they? This is also the host. But within this host, we have many. We have 2 employees to do some simple coding on this thing. So our first employee is Lam. He is called Xiao Ganma. It's a string and is code 0 color. For example, let's call him Walker Year and also pay attention. Walker Year, okay? Then here we give him, say, 3 years, right? Then we write the second one, and for the second one we give, say, just a little less. Just a little less. Just a little less. Okay. And his age might only be, say, 1 year of work experience, right? And so this is a connection. Then the latter part can receive during our transmission process. The information can be used, and after we finish writing this, we need to format it. This place prompts you. We do not trust it. Let's trust him for now. After trusting him, on our side, we enter this command. Let's format it. This part didn't succeed. It's because this is the host. So you need to add a colon. So this is a slightly more complex review. Then we can see, let's look at another review. Okay, this is the character we located, a review of the character type. So what is the name of this character? What is his level? What is his health? And then whether he is a VIP. This is a boolean. And then this is his backpack. In the backpack, there are 10 wooden swords. He has 3 shields. You can see this is an object. This is an object. And then this is it. This thing is called shield. This is an element within speed. And then this is an object. And that's roughly it. Then we usually have a naming convention. Don't recurse within this class. Don't make the hierarchy too deep. Don't write this kind of class. For example, if this is already a class, right? And then you design a class like this. It's called a stop character. That means it has a child, and this child, it is also an object of this type, right? So you can do this. You can see, you can do this. Okay. Then one problem this brings is this thing becomes hard to parse. Think about it. How would you recursively parse this kind of hierarchy? Look. Of course, you can write it. It can definitely be written and parsed. But this design of yours is unreasonable because you have this digit wrapped inside another sub-character. And then another, so when I go to parse it, many automation tools won't be able to parse something like this, a design. The problem is that your Becker design is flawed. It is probably to save your Java backend or your Golang language or REST or C, Lachu, Laskand. It is probably to save the definition of destruct fields, it just wraps them in a nested structure. And this kind of design has very poor flexibility, and it's already written. You can't ask them to change it. So this is really annoying. When we write the find third client, it's best that during the communication phase, they write this kind of thing, you just kill it outright. You forbid him from writing it. Okay, then we delete it. Delete this. We will only demonstrate it to everyone. This thing should not be designed again. This kind of architecture, if designed this way, then this architect has a problem. This problem doesn't mean that the architect lacks skill, nor does it mean the architect is being lazy or something. It means the architect designed it too well. That thing is really awesome. It makes it so that when you write it, for our junior or intermediate developers, it becomes very painful for us to write because the architecture might be written in Java. Writing it that way in Java is very complete, but when you put it into our C++, then it becomes really painful. Cross-engine, cross-language, and also cross-network communication. It's not easy to handle. Then there's another situation like this, where some fields are optional. At this point, you don't know if this field exists, or you don't know if this field doesn't exist. For example, we give a field called visual info. Let's say here, this field might exist. It might be a reserved field. It might exist today, and might not exist tomorrow. Or it might exist again in a couple of days, and then disappear again in a couple of days. That kind of field design is also unreasonable. Why is it unreasonable? Because when I parse it, does this field exist or not? Right? For example, this visual info, does it exist or not? If it does exist, and you didn't pass it, if you don't have it, then you have it again. Then your design is also unreasonable. So during the design phase of the project, you have to kill it right there. You have to tell him he can't design it that way. Then how do we handle it? On our end, we will still write out this field and then give it a default value. For example, we give it a -1. This means the field might not exist, but our struct will still have this field. So that's what it means. And basically, some small details are just like this. Then we have two ways to save. Write the saving method. We all write it in C++. Well, Blueprint actually has some saving tools too, but we directly use the lowest level C++. This gives the highest development flexibility, and both methods are verified by Yaogang and have been proven to work well in projects. They are also flexible and convenient to write. Okay, we'll stop here with these common saving conventions for everyone. Then in the next lesson, we will first teach the most complex one. We will teach the most complex and also the most universal convention, etc. Actually, let me teach you a simplified method, the most convenient one. It's possible that when we work on our own Unreal projects, our Unreal full stack server side is all written entirely by Yaogang alone, then we will adopt the second method because this method is the most perfect. It can support all the UStruct related features within the Unreal Engine. That is, it supports Blueprint reflection. You can directly turn it into this kind of inheritance, which is very convenient. The first method is purely native, which is the most basic inheritance layer of the Unreal Engine. This method, this method, can be very convenient. Let you adapt to what we just mentioned, the ground turtle. The situation where this attribute is present or absent